can get within the Scottish trade, they've got this quality elite.
Every set. Okay, Wharton's here, now we can start. Calling you to order. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, a little bit better. We've been on a break, we're out of practice, we'll get back to it. This is meeting number 162 of TMG, which is the MAC group, Dayton area Macintosh user group. Welcome to you all. We always start out our meeting, we have an agenda that we usually follow, and that is we start out with the welcome. Okay. After we do the welcome, we do news. After we do news, then we do help desk, and we usually do for sale or wanted. We're going to follow the agenda we've been following for the last 15 years, 16 years? Yeah, okay, whatever the gray guys, the guy with the gray hair back there. Okay, the welcome is where we welcome visitors and new members. And I have just one person on the list today, and that's Rich Gray. So if you'd be kind enough to stand up for a moment. Rich, we ask you two questions. What kind of Macintosh do you have or you want to have? And what do you use it to do, and what do you want to do?
G3 iBook.
Okay.
And want to have, probably go to a MacBook, hopefully, maybe under the tree or
Okay.
about in the spring corresponding then, if not having to buy an OS update, something like that. The other day proved how inadequate it is for encoding DVDs. Took about 30 hours to do one, so maybe there's a need for more horsepower there.
Okay.
But mostly I just use it for web browsing and email, and, writing. So I don't even use much word processing, stuff like that. Telnetting around and SSH and things like that. So not
Do you mind if I ask what you do for a living?
programmer.
Programming. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
I believe the gentleman to his right is a new member.
I understand that. I'm going to get him, even though
Okay.
he didn't sign the guest sign-in book. I guess he decided he could pass that process. If you'd be kind enough to stand up and introduce yourself. We have a new member. He didn't even see what we were about, decided to give us money.
I told us here, I'm the rookie, and I really am a rookie sitting next to a programmer. I don't even know what kind of an Macintosh I got. What kind of a Mac have I got?
That's an iMac.
No, the new one. I mean the old one.
Which
The one you just traded.
Foundation?
Yeah, the Foundation.
It's one of the beach ball iMacs.
I got one of those at home, but I'm going to upgrade, and I'm going to ask him what I should get. And mostly I do word processing, and I work at the Kettering Foundation and write a newsletter. So most of what I do is word processing, but email is just great. Can you imagine if all those emails were telephone calls? I just cleared mine. I was out yesterday, so I cleared mine this morning. I got 30 emails this morning. So it's just great. I'm glad to be here because I need to learn a lot.
Okay, well, welcome. Tell him welcome. Oh, we have one more. We have one more. Would you mind standing up and introducing yourself?
My name's Peg Pointer, and I'm here because I need help. I just bought a Mac Mini,
Okay.
and I've had a Macintosh for about 20 years and haven't really used it for all of its potential. I've done a lot of word processing on it, and I've done, a few other things. But with this Mac Mini comes the Microsoft Office 2004. I have never used a PC. I don't, and I'm having problems finding someone to help me who knows about Macintosh and about Microsoft.
Okay.
And they'll say, I can help you with the one, but I can't help you with the other.
Okay.
And so I'm just here to get some direction and ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
And it was Tim, the Apple man down at CompUSA that sent me here.
Okay.
So we'll...
Since have you ever belonged to a user group before?
No.
Okay. sit down for just a second. Let me tell you what this user group is about. We are a rare duck. Okay? Most user groups, computer user groups, are people who get together and all they do is talk geek. And they try and top each other as to, well, I have this, and I have this, and I have this, and, well, you're not running Linux on your stuff. We're not about that. We are a school. Now, don't tell the members I said this, but we are a school. We actually teach people how to use computers. And we are a support group, okay? Now, what that means is, if you get enough people in a room together with a common interest, and you ask a question, somebody has the answer, okay? So, I don't want you to think that everybody in this room is a certified computer professional. It's just a lot of people that have a lot of things that they do on their computers, and they've gotten pretty good at doing it.
We have quite
Okay.
a few that are just plain certified.
Well, some of us are certifiable, but that's a different thing. So I think you found the right place. Now, our general meetings have two parts to it. We're going to be doing some business first, and I'll expedite that because I've been talking too long. But then we take a break, and then we have a presentation here on a technical topic usually. And in that section area in the back, we have what's called the clinic for novices. That's where you can sit and ask questions, okay? And there are no dumb questions. And we have our most patient member, a fellow by the name of Mark Cobb, who's sitting back there. He's got his hand raised. Mark has the patience of a saint, okay?
Validated.
Whatever. Okay. So what I'd ask you to do is just relax, get comfortable. If you hear stuff and you don't understand what it is, don't worry about it, because we use the technique of repetition. And when you hear things talked about enough, all of a sudden it starts to click. All right? And if you still don't find it clicking, talk to another member, Mark, myself, Colonel George is here, Tom Kurtner. I mean, we've got a room full of friendly people that are just here to help themselves and help you. Okay? You feeling okay? Okay, good. All right. My apologies for being long-winded. All right, I think we got the welcome out of the way. So we ought to talk about what's new in the Macintosh world since our last meeting in June or July, whatever it was. They've released some new iMacs, so that you've got, the iMacs are the ones where the monitor is the computer, They've now got the 17, 20-inch, and 24-inch screen iMacs. And on top of that, not just a larger screen, but they got different processors in them. They've got a newer processor from Intel in them. And what it basically means is more capability, they're faster, they run with less electricity, they run with less heat, but they can do more. And of course, what they do is when they bring the new model out, then they step the other ones down in terms of price.
They're all
And they-
dual core now, right?
Hmm?
They're all dual core.
They're all dual core Intel processors. Okay? You don't have to know what that means, it's a good thing. Okay? And then with the Mac Minis, which are the little bitty things that look like CD cases, they just came out with a new one of those, so they discontinued the low end in the model, and they took the high end and moved it down and reduced its price, and then they put this new one in. So you've got Intel dual core processors in both of those. One's at 1.6 gigahertz, one's at 1.8 gigahertz. Okay, gigahertz is just sort of like speed that the engine can go at. Okay, so that's what's been coming out there. Plus, they had a thing called the Apple Developer Conference that was held, where they were showing the next operating system that's coming down the production pipe from Apple. And just to sort of put you in a frame of reference, back around, let's see, I guess it would be 2001, 2002, a company called Microsoft announced that they were developing a new operating system that was going to be called Longhorn or Vista. And they've been working on it since then, and they're still working on it, and they're still working on it, and they're still working on it. They're hoping to get it out the door next year. In the same period of time, Apple has released their Mac OS X beta, their first release, which really wasn't ready for prime time, their second release, their third release, their fourth release, and this next one is going to be their fifth release. So they've been doing what Volkswagen does, continuous improvement of product, coming out with a newer version of the operating system about every 18 to 20 months. Okay? So a lot of stuff.
They also released the new tower.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. For those of you who work in the enterprise, you know, large companies and that, they've got these things that are about yay tall. They're made out of aluminum. They're big. They're heavy, 82 pounds. They look like a cheese grater in the front. In fact, that's why I call them cheese graters. Well, they just came out with their new one that has an Intel processor in it. So that's going to be, that means they don't have anything now that they make with PowerPC processors. Okay. Now, on top of that, Apple's been managing this process so that programs end up being certified universal. A universal program runs on the old PowerPC processors and it runs on the new Intel processors. So they're up to about 80% of the applications that are sold, the programs that are sold for Macintosh, are universal at this point. There's still some that only work on the PowerPC, but they're getting there. What else did I miss? I think I nailed it.
Oh, Bill,
Yeah.
you might mention that Steve Jobs, for once, didn't exaggerate too much, in the sense that the new Mac Pro is up to $1,000 cheaper than an equivalent Dell machine.
Very important point, Peter. For the first time in the whole period of time when I've been working with computers, and that goes back to when I was 13 years old, I'm reading articles in PC Magazine or, you know, Computer News, whatever, where they're doing price comparisons between Dell and Apple with these new Mac Pro cheese graters, and Apple's beating them in terms of the cost of the unit. You get more bang for the buck than you get from Dell. So that's very interesting. Plus, these new machines can run Microsoft Windows software. They can run with the appropriate software like Parallels Desktop. They can run operating systems like Solaris, Red Hat, SOSA, so that Linux stuff. So this is very exciting what's going on right now with Apple technology. Okay, anything else I missed? We got the price point? Yeah.
In news, the battery recall.
Okay, very good. The battery engineers at Sony made some, they were trying to save money on the design of the battery, and it didn't quite work out. They've got some product failures. So there are battery recalls for various laptop computers that are made by Dell, that are made by Apple, that are made by Toshiba. I think Gateway just announced a recall too. Lenovo, which is the old IBM ThinkPads, I don't think they've run into that problem, and HP hasn't, because they didn't buy those batteries to use in their laptops. So if you have a G4 iBook or one of the Mac Pros or one of the G4 PowerBooks, you want to go to the Apple website and put in your serial number. You can go, there's a regular spot on the website where you can put in the serial number on your battery, and it'll tell you whether it's one of the ones that they're recalling. And if you already knew about this and you checked it like a week ago, 10 days ago, you want to check again because they widened the number range. Okay?
Also, if you bought a replacement for your G3.
Yeah.
You seen a video of the fire that was recorded? That,
The one on the airplane or the one
no,
at the
one
conference in
the one at
Japan?
the conference. Man, I tell you, that thing, it wasn't just a little fire, it really took off.
No, it went.
Good.
I
Dangerous.
mean, you know, when they evacuate the room because of the flames, and then the table went too, which
Yeah.
was not good. I'm wondering what they make their tables out of that they catch fire. But, and if you're traveling, some airlines won't let you get on board unless you can certify that your battery isn't, you know, one of the ones that can explode or catch fire.
Did they ask you a plane full of flight attendants and staff who actually know what they're talking about in terms of computers? I'll agree with you.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any news that they've seen going on out there?
There was the whole thing about the pseudo security issue with the Lego Q11.
Oh, at the Black Hat conference in Las Vegas, these two guys did a security exploit of a MacBook Pro.
They showed video of it because they didn't want to do it in public so
Yeah.
that they couldn't be duplicated.
That's right. And they didn't want to release too much information because they wanted to protect whatever. Anyway, their motivation was they didn't like the new Apple computer commercials and they thought that they were too, well, whatever. Well, you know how Dan Rather had those problems with the bloggers and they sort of pick apart stories? Well, the bloggers got started on this one. And what it turns out is that they didn't hack the Apple hardware, they hacked a third-party wireless card that they had inserted into the Apple. So they weren't using any Apple software looking for vulnerabilities. They were looking for a known vulnerability in a third-party product. So the moral to take from that story is take things that you read on the internet or things that people say about viruses and about Trojan horses and Macintosh technology and just take it with a grain of salt. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Apple technology is invulnerable. No computer system is. Okay? But with some of the things that we've shown here in the past and that we'll show you in the future, you can have a nice, safe computing environment and not worry about loss of data. Okay? Which I can't say if you're running a Microsoft operating system. So, be vigilant, but don't be overexcited when you read, you know, oh, 250 vulnerabilities found in this or 200 in that. I would remind you that as of this date right now, there are 248,000 Trojan horses, viruses, malwares, etc. that affect you if you're on a Microsoft operating system, and there are 2 exploits if you're on a Mac. So, I mean, look at it, 248,000 versus 2. And those 2 that are on the Mac, you got to do some dumb things like say yes, 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 when you should say no. But again, we'll show you either, you know, in the future or we have in the past, how to protect yourself, how to know when to say yes and when to say no to those dialog boxes. Okay, anything else in the way of news?
I was assuming they hired the guy they did because Bill Gates wasn't available to do the commercials.
Ah, well, yeah, good set of actors though.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is, there's a small company called Google, and one of their founders is now on the board of Apple. So there's something going on with Apple and Google, and then the chief executive officer of Apple is a guy by the name of Steve Jobs. He's now on the board of Disney, because his other company got bought by Disney. So there's strange things going on here, and there have been strange sightings of Warren Buffett riding segways with Wozniak. I mean, it just, we'll find out more in the future, and we'll pass it on to you. Okay, I think we're done with news. Should we do help desk, or? We're going to do help desk. Oh, excuse me. Dr. Aronson, you want to tell them about our CD that we've got this month for distribution to the members? Stand up.
We have about
Stand up, turn around so they can see you and hear you.
we have about 230 megabytes, about a third full. There's some widgets. There's, I think, one game. There's a file a Word file in it that describes all the goodies that are on it, or most of it. There's a cute little video thing called Animator, which is just put on for fun. It's kind of cute to watch, so enjoy them.
Want a list?
A question,
Here's the list, you can check them off.
a question,
Dr. Scalder had a
I like
question.
to check them off.
Okay.
a question.
Yeah, good.
The email distribution said it was the September issue. Is this the September issue?
This is
It
it.
says summer, TMG summer?
It says September 2006.
Oh, I picked up over there, sorry.
That was the one from before.
Hold on.
Those of
Get
you
one of
who
those?
didn't pick up the last one we distributed just at the beginning of the summer break, we have copies left if you need those.
Okay, but how about this? We get one of these?
Okay, while he's handing that out, I'm going to be a brave individual and say we're going to open the help desk and see if anybody has had problems over the summer. Yes, sir.
Could you talk a little bit about the parallel system? I've installed it, but I haven't really used it yet. My question is, I need to buy a Microsoft Office if I want to open files in the parallel system. I can't use the one I have for Macintosh. I've had difficulty moving files back and forth.
Okay. I don't personally own a machine right now with an Intel processor. I just ordered a Mac Mini. Okay. I can't give you any information on that, but I believe Don Bennett, are you still running Parallel Workstation? Okay. Can you answer his question about?
Well, I've got it, and I'm working in some files where I have these boxes. What I noticed is if you want to work in Word or something else, there's no way to do it on Parallel unless you have Microsoft Office for the DOS format.
Right, because you're running a completely different operating system under Parallels, so any programs you want to run under Windows have to be Windows programs.
Right. Now, I also noted it's much more difficult to move files back and forth than it used to be in PC Office.
Right, you have to set up a shared folder that interlinks between them. What I've done is you can turn on regular file sharing and share files just like it's another computer on the network. I think that's easier than using those shared folders.
Okay, so look at file sharing as the vehicle.
Right, you might have to mess around a little bit to make that work. But
Yeah, I found it's difficult to go back and forth.
Yeah.
On
If you
on
can
PC
set up,
Office, we could just drag and drop between the two formats.
yeah, you can set up a shared folder that you can put it in, and then you have to go back to your, like, you can drop something in there in Windows and then go over to the Mac side and open it, and both sides will see it, but it's a shared folder. And you have to set that up in Parallel before you start running the Windows in it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, if I've got a Microsoft Word doc file, okay, that came in, and I've got it over on the Windows part of Parallel's Workstation, and I don't have Office installed on the Windows side, but I have Microsoft Office for the Mac installed, I've got to create some way of, so that the Mac part can see that file. And your solution was to create a file, a folder share, so that you go back over to the Mac side, log into it, look at the file, and then when you double click it, the Mac side goes, oh, Microsoft Word over here is going to open it.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I got
So
you.
both operating systems can see that folder.
Okay.
They had shared files on the old Office PC. So
Okay.
Right. Virtual PC was like a third or fourth generation app. So they had made the drag and drop. I could take a file from my Mac desktop and just drag it right onto Virtual PC, and it would convert it over.
Okay.
Parallel just came out of beta.
See, but the difference is with Parallel's Workstation, you're not doing emulation, you're doing virtual engines, where with the old PC stuff, it was emulation. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Hopefully, I'll have delivery of my Mac Mini in a couple days, and then I'll have some time to play with it. And next meeting, I may be a little bit more educated, be able to answer more of your
It might
questions.
make a
How
good discussion
recently did
topic.
you work?
Hmm?
How recently did you work?
Yesterday,
Okay, after the announcement.
yeah, so, it'll be a while. Okay, anybody else? Yes?
An AppleWorks question. It is possible to take a database, do a copy into a spreadsheet, and out of any given record, it takes each element and puts it separately into a column. If I have a row, a spreadsheet, is there any way to put it back into the database? Because if I try to do it, reverse what I did to go from database to spreadsheet, I reverse that, it takes in all those items in each one of those columns across the row and puts them into one record, or one element of the record.
Okay,
one field.
question. Now, I don't know AppleWorks, but is it possible for you to rotate your matrix so that the row becomes a column and then import it? Because I know in
You just
Excel,
copy
I can do
column.
that. I can just take a spreadsheet and I can rotate it so what was a row becomes columns. Because that's what I usually do when I'm pulling stuff into Access, because again, it's looking at,
See if it would see, you take each one of those and put it into
Yeah.
a separate
yeah,
field within the record.
yeah. Now, I know that with FileMaker, which is another database product that's multi-platform, it has import functions where you can, specify,
You can do it there.
yeah,
Yeah, that one I can do.
okay.
We're trying to-
AppleWorks is sort of an orphan product at this point, in that Apple hasn't updated it for, I'm gonna say 3 years? 4 years?
Long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And when you get Microsoft Office for the Mac, you do not get
You don't get a database, that's correct. That's correct. Which is one of the reasons why I'm excited about getting a Mac Mini, because I have Access, and I've got all sorts of tools to work with Access databases. But Access, it only runs under Windows or under Wine or Crossover. So, that's usually the tool that I'm working with in terms of data manipulation, unless I'm in my SQL. Okay, so does that help at all?
Well, I'll see. how
Try it
that-
and let me know if it
I'll
works.
See if that works.
Okay, do we have any other AppleWorks knowledgeable people in the room today?
I play with AppleWorks, but not the database.
Okay,
Yeah, me too.
okay. You might, at the break, pick their brains. They're both sort of, well, let's see, wait a minute, 2 retired engineers, second thought, and, yeah, okay, never mind. Anybody
Ask
else?
him for spelling.
Nobody else. Okay, I'm going to say help desk is closed then. Let's move on to, do we have any items for sale or wanted? George?
I have an Apple Laser Writer M2, Laser Writer 2 MTX. It requires Apple Talk as an input, okay? It's a venerable laser printer, black and white, monochrome. I'm begging somebody to take it, okay? It's in my truck. And,
Hey, you might leave it in there for the winter, it's a wait
I know it
notice.
would put a little extra weight on the
Okay,
wheels.
Laser Writer NTX.
Laser Writer 2 MTX, right.
Laser Writer 2 NTX. Okay, you know how much RAM's in it?
Please?
How much RAM is in it? 6 or 12?
I'm not
meg?
absolutely sure. I think it's got the whatever came from the factory.
Okay, then
either
it's got
2 or 4
2 meg in it. Okay. Okay, and you're
It-
looking
it's
for someone
It's a pretty nice printer, but I've moved on. I don't have an Apple Top network on my machines I use.
Okay, I will, now, would you be open to someone who would pick it up and take it to the,
Sure, I just want it out
and
of
to
here.
the recycle area there where,
Sure.
Okay, because we had a fellow by the name of Leo Chico had approached us before the summer, and he had 2 or 3 of these, and he had some other older Laser Writer Pros, and I queried every nonprofit I knew and every school I knew, and none of them wanted it. I even called the fellow sitting next to you to see if he wanted another couple for his garage, but he had already moved at that point and didn't want to start too cluttered yet. So,
Right.
so I'll do a good faith effort, but I can't promise you're going to find anybody. Okay?
Right.
Okay. Yes.
I still have
Okay.
old Macintosh stuff. If anybody needs anything in the way of,
Do you have an inventory?
in my head a little bit, but
Okay.
I've got a storage place, and I probably have a dozen of the laser printers that you're talking about, various types.
You promised your wife you were going to get rid of
I'm
this stuff.
sorry,
when you
I
moved.
can only
did, put it in
one
storage.
ear. I can't
Okay.
hear 2 people talking at once here.
Okay.
I was keeping these, my wife was using a Mac in her classroom this year, she has chosen not to do that. And I've got old Macintoshes from SEs, the single boxes, to classics, color classics,
Okay.
Mac 2s, the monitors, the 13-inch monitors, I probably have 20 of those.
Okay.
Keyboards, mice, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody knows anyone that has older equipment that needs parts, I still
I
have
thought you were going to
to.
say if we knew anyone who had older equipment that wanted to give it to you,
No.
so you could add to your collection. Okay.
I've lately people have been asking me, and I've been declining to
Okay.
pick it up. But and it's mainly because my wife does not like me cluttering up the basement with
Okay.
these.
What,
I
what-
still
what-
intend-
what if it's a foolish individual who has a collection that's of older equipment that's missing certain models that might come
we
and
can
take
talk.
away?
We can talk.
Okay.
Some of these,
Will you buy lunch?
most of these I picked up from surplus
Okay.
at Wright Patterson when they were selling a lot of that stuff. Wright State University. Some of them I intended to keep just to play with because some of them have strange configurations. They've got strange cards installed in them that I don't know what they do.
Any of them Tempest?
I did have, I may still have some Tempest. There was a company that modified
Yeah.
keyboards
Yeah.
and
Okay.
printers, and I had some of those. I don't know if I still
Okay.
have some of those.
I'll put the word out. There is a collector over in Columbus who apparently has some sort of thing for SE 30s. I mean, he's got like 100 of them.
I maybe only have a couple of those, and I intend to keep some in my collection
Okay.
as sort of an
I'm trying to
archive.
like build a house.
Okay, so you're basically saying you're a source of parts, and you might part with a couple if you've got like more than 10 of them.
Yeah, ask.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
I have plug-ins, Bernoulli drives, I have some Bernoulli discs.
You want some more?
No, let's say I'm kind of declining.
Okay.
As people are offering me Volkswagen engines and freezers.
Freezers, those are.
Well, you know, when you make the bid on that pallet number 32, and you see that it's, you know, it's got that jet engine and it's got that Mac SE30 with the removable Bernoulli drive, I mean, how can you pass
Oh,
it
I
on?
could tell you stories. I've had a
Okay.
lot of fun.
We'll do that another time, though. Okay, anyway, I think I know what you're looking for, and I'll see if we can get the word out for you.
Just so people know, I'm not aware, most school systems are no longer accepting any older equipment. Their people are so spread thin, they can't even keep up with what they've got.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's older than an iMac, it's pretty, unless it's just basic kids wanting to tinker.
Yeah, and that goes for PCs also. If it's anything under a P4, they don't want it. Okay? But, good thing you brought that up. I had a conversation with the school administrator the other day, and she directed me towards MVECA and MDECA, and I had an idea of maybe creating a support group for the people that are doing computer support for the schools, because these people are stretched so thin, you get together, you start sharing ideas, you start sharing parts, sharing techniques, information, makes the work go lighter. So just another one of my crazy projects that I'm getting ready to start up. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir.
I still have a 75 megahertz power PC Mac, if anybody's interested. And I have two printers, a 930C with cartridges that I use occasionally.
Okay, 930C is a Hewlett-Packard printer. It's USB. You can use it with current equipment. It's a very nice printer.
And also a 5155 or 5150.
It's the one that's sort of like flying saucer rounded.
No, it's square.
Square?
Small.
5155.
And it has cartridges, and all these have the manuals and CD and disc, operating
Okay.
disc.
Okay, let me break that down so I got it.
I'd like to sell one of the printers because occasionally it's nice to have two hooked up and
Okay.
I
What
can
I'd
print
ask you
two
to do
jobs
is,
at once.
as soon as you get home today, send me an email at the tmgdayton@aol.com.
Got it.
Okay? So that what I've got written down here, because then I'm going to put a list together and then send it out to everybody.
Great.
So now
Thanks
that
for
I've
your
got the
reply
email
on my
list
problem,
set
by
up.
the way.
Okay.
I emptied the cache, everything worked.
Yeah. I still owe you an email about what the difference is between resetting and clearing cache, so that you understand what the cache function is in a browser. So I'll do that later on today, hopefully. Okay, moving right along. Who else? Okay.
Hi,
And
I have some stuff here because Apple so kindly replaced my iBook with a MacBook.
oh, you're working for Apple again?
No,
Oh,
it was a fun story. My iBook, which is the one I had when I started with Apple, had issues and it was repaired several times when I was employed by Apple.
mm,
And over the last spring, early spring, I had more issues and brought it to a local reseller and they eventually weren't able to do anything with it. On a trip down to Cincinnati, on one of my daily trips, I stopped by the Apple store and showed it to them and they said, well, let's see what we can do,
mm,
because it was past the date. I get back, they call me back a week later saying, come pick up your machine. I come pick it up, they replaced the logic board again
mhm.
and powered up. Used it for about 3 or 4 minutes in the Apple store and the backlighting went out again.
Mhm.
So they said, well, we might be able to see what we can do. They pulled up the unit history, turns out none of the repairs that had been done
Mhm.
went on the unit's history because it was done as an Apple-owned unit.
Yeah.
Luckily, the guys there were smart enough to look and see that I had had MAC address changes 3 or 4 times, and they said, well, let's see what we can do. I get a call back a week later saying, come pick up your new machine. And lo and behold, they didn't replace it with another G3 or even a G4, they replaced it with a MacBook.
Mhm.
I'm happy.
Okay.
The only downside is, that means I've got things like extra CD packs. I have a charger for the G3 iBooks and obviously G4 is just one of the Apple 45 watt power adapters. And a video output that I don't need anymore. So if anybody has an interest in these things, these are good working with current models, G3 and G4s. This will work with anything from iMac, G4 iMac at least. Some
So
of
are
the
you-
G5
are these
iMacs.
giveaways or you want to
I
sell
won't
them?
sell them. I mean, this, I could probably grab a few bucks, but this is, I'd like to get like maybe, I don't know, 30, 40.
Okay. Same thing I said to him, I say to you, as soon as you get home,
Let you
send
know
me
what
an
all I
email.
got.
Okay?
What do you
Yes, I
use
also
the
have
video
A full
output
set of
for?
restored discs from an iMac that I have no longer need. So,
Okay. Anybody else? Going once, going
Yeah,
twice.
question.
How do you use that video output connection here?
It plugs into the side of the iBook or the iMac, and then you hook a VGA cable from that to either the other monitor you've got, or you use it to go to a television. Okay, but that's how you use it. You know, we could do a presentation on how you do presentations, I suppose. Okay, anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're done with. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just have a question on the help thing. Can I jump back there real quick?
We can jump back to the help thingy.
My printer won't print one color, it won't print magenta. It's got the new cartridge in it, and what do I do? Is it, I am assuming that it's clogged. I did the cleaning over and over again.
don't get upset with me, all right? Question number one, when you went to put the cartridge in, did you pull the thing off that seals the cartridge?
I'm gonna have to hurt you, Bill. I really am.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay. You gotta remember where I work.
I know, I work there too.
Okay, so,
CA.
okay, Epson ships with utilities where you can clean the print heads and
I
all
did,
that,
and
and
I've
it's
done it.
still not?
No.
Okay. Have you tried taking the cartridge out and inserting it again, one more
Several
time?
times.
Okay. Chances are either it's a bad cartridge.
Well, this is the second cartridge I put in.
Okay.
Because I thought the other one was bad, but it
Okay.
did not print it.
Then what that means is when that cartridge gets inserted in, it's making electrical connections with that, it's sort of like a ribbon cable material. It could be that that's where the problem is, that ribbon cable has gone bad. Okay?
On just the one color?
Yeah, you'll get it on just the one. Okay?
Okay.
But before you take your printer and put it in the dumpster, actually you want to recycle it. Before you do that, what I would do is reinstall your printer drivers that come from Epson, okay? Just to make sure that it's not where it doesn't know what it's doing,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
And I'll avoid you at the break so you don't, okay. Okay.
You might ask if anybody did get a discount, you guys did.
Okay.
And this has the keys to the kingdom. Digitally, this has the keys to the kingdom, right? Digital?
Yeah.
Did anyone not get their CD? Everybody's got their CD? Did all the members get their CD? You gotta join to get one. You gotta join. Okay? Okay. Now, Mr. Pancos, this weekend's booked. What does next weekend look like? You're clear? Okay, I'll clear that out. We'll see if we can get that off my to-do list. Okay? Okay, that takes care of that. That one I'm going to have to do up. Okay, the presentation is about a program called Butler. And what I need to do just very quickly here is to undo what I did so that I've got a system without Butler on it.
Bill, is Butler public domain?
Butler is not public domain. It is donation freeware. But let me actually just start up with the presentation so that I'm doing a little more coherent presentation. Okay, three things. I'm going to lower expectations. The first thing is I'm working on a different laptop than I normally work on. So if I'm fumbling around, it's because it's a different form factor than I'm used to. The second thing is I'm really turned off on PowerPoint presentations at this point in my life. Okay, so I only put this into a PowerPoint because I figured I ought to have, something to show up on the screen. Most of the time I'm going to spend in a live demo of the program. Okay? So we're talking about Butler Launcher Productivity Applications, and this is meeting number 162. Okay, this is who I am, and I'm still employed at Cox Ohio Publishing, which is, the Dayton Daily News, Springfield News Sun. And if you need to get a hold of me, use the bottom phone number and bottom address, because that one is mine, and if anything ever changes, you can still get me at those. Okay, what will we cover in this? We're going to cover what are launcher applications, who should use one, what is Butler? Butler is a launcher application, and hands-on demo of Butler. Okay, so the three up on the top, that's like the first quarter of the presentation. Everything else is demo. Okay, what are launchers? Launchers let users quickly find and run documents and applications. Okay, that's all they do. Examples of launchers. How many of you use Microsoft Windows operating systems? Okay, the thing at the bottom, the taskbar, that's a launcher application that's been embedded into an OS, an operating system. How many of you use the dock on Mac OS X? That's a launcher, okay? You can configure it by putting in documents or applications, okay? And it's been embedded into the OS. Butler is a launcher program, but it's a standalone program. Okay, who should use launchers? Users with very distinct work activities, users with very distinct work patterns, and users who are willing to spend time now organizing their workflow so that they'll save small increments of time on repetitive tasks in the future. Okay? By distinct work activities. What I mean by that is, let's say you're a consultant and you're working at several different organizations and you've got different documents that you use when you're doing stuff at those organizations. And for this organization, you're primarily doing spreadsheet work. At this one, you're primarily doing word processing. At this one, you're primarily doing emails and PowerPoints. Very, very different work activities. You'd use a launcher to sort of control that. So you go, okay, I'm over at XYZ Corp, boom, I fire up this launcher in this environment, boom, there's all the stuff I use at that place. You go to the next place, oh, now I'm at ABC Company. Boom, use your launcher to bring that stuff up. The other one is distinct work patterns. You're at the job, every day you come into work, you fire up your email, you fire up your word processor, you fire up your antivirus, you know, it's always the same 3-4 things you fire up. You know, same spreadsheets, documents always get opened up. Repetitive, and it's always that way every morning. Well, if you got a launcher set up, you just go, oh, launch, and boom, it automatically launches the stuff that you normally bring up. Okay? So those are some of the things that launchers are great for. But the important one is this. A launcher is only going to work for you if you're willing to spend some time now. It may take you an hour, 2 hours to configure a launcher up the way you want it. To be able to save that, 1 or 2 seconds every morning for the next 20 years. Okay? It's sort of like the economic decision on whether you buy or rent a chipper shredder. Okay? If you only go over to the church property once every 5 years to clean up the brush, you're going to rent a chipper shredder. But if you've got a big garden, you've got lots of trees, and you have all this brush that you need to take care of every week, then you go, okay, do I spend some money now so that I don't have to constantly pay for the rental every week? It's that kind of a decision you have to make in your head. Okay? So what I'm presenting here is that launchers aren't for everybody, but I think everybody should be aware of what they can do for you in terms of productivity. Okay, any questions at this point? Yes?
Is that sort of similar to the startup?
Yes. But what launchers do is they don't just manage documents starting and applications starting, they put it in a context so that you can have several of these things. Okay? And the product I'm going to show, Butler, will also let you launch URL, bookmarks, from one location, any browser you have. Okay? It'll let you configure them in groups. So you go, okay, I'm shopping, these are the sites I always go out when I'm shopping, boom, they're all together in one place, even if they're in different browsers.
Which one place are they kept?
They're kept in Butler. I'll show you, okay? But it's the idea of you're stepping away from the graphic user interface of Mac OS X, and you're saying, I'm going to use this thing to set up either hotkeys or pop-up menus or dockettes or menu bar items to do these tasks. Okay? but the idea is you're putting the tasks that you do. You have to customize it. You have to configure it. That's why this is a very, very nice application, and that's the pro side of it. The con side of it is I could not find any PDFs or how-tos on how to best use it. So I've been playing with it for about 2 to 3 weeks, and you're going to see what I've come up with. Okay, anybody else? Moving right along. Okay, this is the program. This is the website. You'll notice it's a .de. It comes from the Federal Republic of Germany. The author is Peter Maurer, and he has written quite a few applications for Mac OS X and for Mac OS 9 that have been incorporated into commercial products later on. The version of Butler is 4.1.2. It is donation freeware. In other words, you can download a fully functioning latest version, use it to your heart's content. There's no time restriction on it. It's not crippled in any way. But if you like it and you feel you ought to send the guy some money, he's got a PayPal account. Now, I will say this. Many of the programs that he's written in the past were donation freeware, and then somebody bought the distribution rights, and then it became commercial. So if you want it, download it now. The other thing is this is a universal application. So it will run if you have a Mac with an Intel processor. It will run if you have a Mac with a PowerPC processor. So it runs on the old and the new machines.
Don't I run on my CX?
It will not run on your 68030. Okay. Now, if you said CI, well, okay. So what is Butler? This is the icon for the application. It's a file launcher. It's a bookmark manager. It's a web search utility. It's a pasteboard utility. Okay. And much, much more. I'm going to go through these in detail. File launcher. Okay. With Butler, you can access any application or document through fully customizable, system-wide, spring-loaded menus or hotkeys or hot corners or by entering abbreviations. Okay, so he has an interface where you can type in, the starting thing for it. It'll show you choices, and you select the one it means, you want. Butler will learn what you want from a particular abbreviation. So if I put in ABO the first time as an abbreviation, and one of the choices is the address book, and I select it the first time, and then a couple days later I select it again, and a couple days later I select it again. The fourth or fifth time I type in ABO, it's just going to show me address book, because it's learned that if I type in ABO, I mean address book. If I type in EDU, it means go to Northwestern University website. Okay, so it's one of these really sort of creepy programs that watches what you do and learns and adapts to you. Okay. Butler is also a bookmark manager. You can use bookmarks independent of a browser. In other words, from the Butler interface, if I put bookmarks into it, I can, from the Butler interface, select a bookmark. It will know what browser is supposed to launch that bookmark, and it'll launch it. Now you're probably thinking, what's the big deal there? I have some sites that I go to where Safari won't work with it, but Firefox will. In my work environment, I have some sites internal to the paper where Opera works on this website, Safari works on this one, Firefox works on this one, Internet Explorer has to be used on this one, and with Butler, what I can do is have a single menu where those bookmarks are, also called favorites. They're uniform resource locations, URLs, from one interface, and it knows to automatically launch the right browser. Okay? So that's a bonus. The other thing is, Butler's bookmarks are always accessible through its system-wise interface. In other words, I don't have to have a browser up and running to be able to get to my bookmarks.
Bill, how much system resource does Butler consume?
I don't know, when we get it running, we'll go into Activity Monitor and see. Butler also lets you access the bookmarks of all OS X browsers. Okay, that's a bigger thing than it appears to be. Let's say I've got Internet Explorer installed on my machine and it's got bookmarks, and I've got Safari and it's got bookmarks, and I've got Firefox and it's got bookmarks. From within the Butler interface, it'll show me all the browsers, and I can go to any of those from within the interface, and it then pops up with all of the websites in that browser. So if I don't have it configured into Butler, I can still go to the browser through a pop-up menu, boom, and pick the website. When we do the hands-on demo, you'll see, whoa, way cool. And last but not least, adding files or URLs from your browser to the Butler configuration is stunningly easy. Okay, one of the problems I have at work is we're about to take Internet Explorer for the Mac off of the Macs because it doesn't work with MSN, it doesn't work with our website anymore, it's a dead product. But our users don't know that, that's correct. And they have all these bookmarks for other things in Internet Explorer. With Butler, I'm going to be able to move them all into Butler. I don't know if we're going to use it or not, but I'm leaning towards we are going to use this. I can move them into Butler and then reassign them to a different browser and then throw Internet Explorer away. And be able to do it with a couple clicks instead of dragging.
And then all that's left is the complaining.
Yeah, well, you never get rid of the complaining, and that's why I stay employed. Okay. Or to put it another way, I do not support computers. I support people who use computers. Okay? Some of my coworkers support the computers and they wonder why they don't get the sort of smiles I get when, you know. Okay, moving along. Just I have a coworker in the front row heckling me here. Okay, it's also a web search utility. Okay, Butler's predecessor, another launcher, was the first application written for any platform that let you do a web search from the menu bar. A small company called Google saw that, some of the guys at Google and gals at Google, and they went, "Ooh, way cool. We'll make this thing called Google Menu Bar." Okay, so one of the things I'm saying about Peter Moore is he's one of those people who other people look at ideas he comes up with and they steal them like mad and then put them in their own products. By the way, Peter Moore is I think he's working on his doctorate in physics. Okay, but he also does some stuff with cognitive patterns and how people perceive things. Very interesting young man. He's like in his mid-20s.
I hate him.
Yeah. It's almost as bad as the 14-year-olds that, you know, write the killer apps. And I go, okay, I've been having this conversation with a 14-year-old. Okay. The other thing about this is if your menu bar is too crowded for an input field, you can also use Butler. You can say, okay, to Butler, don't put my search field up in the menu bar. I've got too much stuff up in the menu bar. I want you to use a hotkey to pop it up, or I want you to have it in a docklet. So you can have this search thing available, but it's hidden until you hit the right keystroke. And it's the keystroke that you say you want. Okay, so it's highly, highly customizable. Okay, now, the other thing, doesn't look like a big deal, but oh, is it? Butler supports a large number of search engines by default. They're already in there, but you are not restricted to those search engines. You can customize what search engines it uses. Okay, what that means in real world, I'll be sitting, you know, at work, and I've got a problem with a computer, and I'll say, okay, well, let's Google it. Okay, so I'll fire up Firefox, I'll go to the Google website, I'll put in, you know, error number such and such, you know, Windows XP, blah, blah, blah. Hit return, it does a Google search, comes up with all these websites where they, you know, they got the hits, and I go, okay, well, that isn't getting me there. Okay, let's try Alta Vista, let's try Yahoo, okay. In some cases, the browser I've got to switch to a different browser because it does it, it's rendering a little bit differently for that other website. With Butler, you have your web search bar. You go in and you pick what you're looking for, which search engine you want. Are you doing Google or are you doing Google Images? Okay. Are you doing Google or are you doing Google News? Or are you doing about.com, or are you doing Yahoo or Alta Vista, and it's all there in the menu bar. You just, boom, pick it. Okay, go look there. Saves a lot of time and effort. Plus the other thing is, because you've got those search engines already configured, and they're in front of you when you do the pop-up, you don't forget not to check about.com, or you don't forget to check version tracker. Okay, because they're there in front of you. It's like having a work procedure in front of you where you can say, okay, wipe wrench, okay, next thing, take wrench, put new socket on. You know, you got that work procedure in front of you. So it means that you get a more consistent result because you're doing your searches the same way using the same sites. Okay, another feature of Butler, it's a pasteboard extension. Mr. Moore prefers to use the word pasteboard. Clipboard is probably more familiar to you. Okay. Have you ever had where you're going to be moving some data around in some fields, maybe in a spreadsheet, and you copy the one, and you go, and I want to paste it in there, but there's something in there. Well, I got to copy that stuff out. You know, move that someplace else. So I can put this in, and I move this over here, and then I move that over there. With Butler, you have multiple clipboards. And some of them can be static, where if you've got stuff you put in all the time, like, you know, a dummied up signature and, you know, your name underneath and whatever your job title is, you can save that permanently in your pasteboard. So that when you're writing a letter, you know, boom, bring up the pasteboard, look at what's in it. Oh, okay, there it is, number 9. Okay, paste number 9, and number 9 is your signature and your typed name and job title. Multiple clipboards, way cool. And you can also take a snapshot of your current pasteboard and keep it for good. So let's say you're tooling around the web, you see something you want to use it again, boom, copy it to your clipboard, save it permanently in the pasteboard. Yeah?
Is Butler scriptable?
You can do Automator and AppleScript with it. Butler can also launch Automator actions and AppleScripts on the basis of if-then-else conditions. So you can have a folder within Automator that if you, remember, Butler can move files, where if you move a file into a folder, that triggers an action and does things, or if you do a keystroke, it automatically kicks off an AppleScript action. Okay, but wait, there's more. From within Butler, you can move and copy files. You can control iTunes. You know, it's a late night session, you got the headphones on, you're trying to get some stuff done, and you're going, you know, that quiet classical music is just not helping right now. I need some, you know, like Dixieland jazz, or John Philip Sousa, or, God forbid, bagpipe music. Okay, which is what I do when I have to stay awake and I have to keep moving. Nobody sleeps when the pipes play, unless they're dead. So you can control iTunes from it. And again, it's way cool when I show it to you. You can also access system preferences, and you can change the current user from within Butler. Okay, multi-user environments, that's a good thing to have. And there's even more. And going back to being fully customizable, this is where it really shines. It just, when you're customizing his behavior, you have so many choices, it's almost a bad feature of the program, because I'm like a mule with 6 bales of hay. Which one am I going to nosh on? And it really takes you a while to figure out, to keep it simple and not to try and make it too complicated. But you've got so many choices of how you can do things that it truly is amazing. If your menu bar is too crowded, you can use Butler's Docklet. Want a menu for each mounted volume? No problem, it can do it. Want a menu pop-up when you press a key? No problem. Want running applications in your menu bar? No problem, it can do that. Whatever kind of interface you prefer, Butler is at your service. So if you're a mouse and click kind of person, or you're a hotkey person, or you're a combination of the two, it's got interfaces for you. And if your menu bar isn't real crowded, you can actually, with Butler, say, okay, I want these things that are going to end up on the menu bar, and I want them over on the left, or I want them on the right, or I want them in the middle of the menu bar. So you have control over, to a certain extent, of where they show up on that menu bar. Questions?
You run into any problems with it?
Only when I get confused between when I'm using a mouse to do something and then I decide it's better to use the arrow keys. There's a particular place you have to put the mouse and then switch to the arrow keys. That's the only thing that I've run into so far. Now, I am primarily a person who likes pop-up menus, so that's what you're going to see. But the sort of things you can do with the pop-up menus in the menu bar, you can also do with hotkeys, and you can do with the docklet. Yes, Peter?
Now, when you go through pause, or when you try to go to an internet site, each time you select Butler, it will start up the application.
Correct.
So you may end up with having dozens of applications running.
That's what Unix is for, running many, many programs all at the same time in a multitasking environment that doesn't crash.
I do it every day.
Okay, anybody else?
You're talking about switching users. Is there, can you get to a point where you can toggle users without a re-enter password?
There are ways to hack that where it doesn't require a password, but that's not good practice.
Well,
Especially if you have a laptop, you want to retain the security that a true password, strong password environment gives you.
I'm just saying, one of my wishes that they would put in this thing is when you change users, you have a click box that says, let me toggle back without, go between the two when now that I've established, yes, I do know the password to both accounts.
Are you doing a full log out, log in? Or are you using switch users from the...
Switch users.
Okay.
It would just be nice
Butler
if-
does it,
sometimes
you
I
can,
go over
you
to,
can
you
have
know, test
switch,
things.
you can have switch users turned off, and Butler will still allow you to switch users,
Mhm.
which is sort of, I haven't played with it enough, but in the demo, I'll play with it a little bit, and you can get a feel for what it's like, okay?
I don't mind the, entering the password the first time I switch, but
Yeah.
then having told the system, hey, I know both, I'll sometimes set up a user just as a clean test area, and then I want to go back and forth to my working area in this clean area.
Yeah. What you might think about is some of the virtual engines that are appearing, where you could be running whatever operating system you do programming within, be running more than one shell of that at a time. Because then you're still within the same user environment, but you're moving between virtual engines. That way it's within the protected area.
I want a clean profile. I want a clean home area.
It's a virtual engine, so it is separate. I mean, this is different than emulation. Emulation, you get all those little tracks that are footprints that are left. with a virtual engine, you actually are, you know, segregated memory, protected. They really are different.
You're talking about, you're talking more like parallels, but just
Yeah.
in Mac OS X.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's other products
Multiple
like
copies
that.
of the
There are other products like that coming down the line. So all the virtualization that you're seeing in the Microsoft world that's coming down the line, so that you can be running virtual Windows ME, for, you know, whatever, because you got that one thing that works well in ME. I'm sure somebody somewhere wrote something that works well in ME. And then you've got your Windows 2000 environment, your Windows XP environment. You know, you get peripheral cards that only work in one particular OS because the drivers only work. And you do it in a virtual setting within Vista, and it's protected, and it is truly different. You're not running in Vista. It's an actual. It's like a person with multiple personalities. Yeah, they're in the same body, but it's entirely different people. And there is a psychological boundary between them. Okay, in any case, are you ready for a demo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me hit escape here, and I'm doing an Apple H to hide it. Okay, now, I gotta, let me just, real quick, go into system preferences. I'm doing this all the old way first, so that, okay, and now, actually, the easiest thing to do is just this. Let me do this. I can cancel. Let's see what happens if I switch users. Okay, now I had switch users was turned off in the operating system, so that
Hello.
yeah, it's going to take it a while. Ooh, hello. I should pick the other one.
While this thing's starting up,
Yes.
in your, on the bottom, you had some colored balls.
Yeah.
What
Those are all aliases to directories on my file server at home. Okay.
They mean something to you.
Yeah. The big blue one with the W in the middle, that means William. Now there's another one that has a C, that's Carol. And there's another one that's R, that's Robert, and Lucy, and Andrew. And if you put them all together, you get Crawl. Okay, now you'll notice in this user, the menu bar, we have up here, that's a Bluetooth symbol. That's my wireless symbol, that's, you know, for setting my sound, and that's my battery, and that's my clock, and that's the spotlight. Okay? Now, let's go back to the other user. System preferences. Accounts. Let me just log out and log in. It's easier. I'm doing this the old way. I'm not using Butler for this. Maybe I could use Butler in the beginning. It's interesting. As I'm using Butler, I'm forgetting what functions were built into the Mac OS X and what functions were Butler. And sometimes I forget to turn Butler on. And then I watch it boot and I go, oh, wait a minute, I got a problem here, you know? Now, on this one, let me see if this works. Okay, following the suggestion of one of our members, I just turned on where it zooms and blows stuff up. You'll notice that on my menu bar, I have 3 new tools that are up there. And here we go. I've got this one, which is this Mac. I've got this one, which is my bookmarks, and I've got this one, which is my entry query. It's a search engine. This is all being generated by Butler. Now, let me hit these things and hit the minus so that there we go. Now I got it back. Okay, now I'm regular view. In order to get Butler to operate, what you need to do is download it. You install it as an application, and then the first time, Shift A, you launch Butler, okay? And then once it's running, you go to your preferences, and in your accounts control pane, under login items, you turn Butler, you add Butler to it. Okay? What that means is when you log in, it automatically launches Butler. Okay,
The
so
installer doesn't do that, the installer doesn't set it up
does
as a
not do
startup?
it, no. Many people only turn Butler on when they want it. So in that case, you would have it in your dock so that when you want Butler, you just double click on it there. Okay, I've gotten so addicted to this thing that I've got it where it automatically goes on when I start. Okay, let's do a web search. Okay, before Butler, if I want to do a web search, I'd have to look down in the dock, find the browser, launch the browser. So it'd be like, okay, find the browser, Firefox, wait for it to launch, and then up here in the search field, I'd type in what I was looking for, and then I'd hit return. Okay. Now one of the problems I've got is that I'm using different browsers at different times, and I've never gotten around to making the same search engines available in each browser. So each browser has its default set of search engines. Okay, using Butler, I come up here in this little menu bar, and I click on the little arrow, and it shows me the search engines, this is the default, that are already configured in here. So I've got Google, Google Images, Groups, Directory, Tioma, Yahoo, Hotbot, and within those subsets of news, dictionaries, computers, shopping, and miscellaneous, there are more websites that have search engines. So under miscellaneous, I have Alta Vista Images, audio, video, directory, etc., etc. FedEx tracking. Okay, so let's go back here and let's say I want to do a Google search. So I selected Google. I don't have to launch my web browser. I just type in this box what I'm looking for. I'm going to put in the word Butler, and I'm going to put in M-A-U-R-E-R. I'm going to put in Peter. Hit return. Butler launches my browser. Butler feeds the stuff in. So I'm on Google automatically. It's already done a search. Here's the search results. I've timed myself. Doing it the old way, it takes me 15 seconds, 20 seconds if I've had a cup of coffee and the eyes are working. Using Butler, it's under 2 seconds.
Did that launch an application, or is it just...
It launched the application. It launched Firefox, which is my default browser. Okay, so for searches, it's using that. But if I came back in here, okay, I'm quitting out of the program. If I was using a clipboard type function, I could select another search engine, feed in the same stuff again, hit enter, boom. It's going to be even faster because Firefox is already running. Let's do a search for pictures, okay? Let's say I want to look at images. Okay, I go Google Images. What do you want to look for? Give me something.
Horses.
Horses, okay. H-O-R-S-E-S. Okay. it's not doing anything that the operating system couldn't have done or that I couldn't do. It's just doing it faster. Because it knows, oh, okay, do the search, launch the browser, go. Okay, so there's some of your web utility search. Now, I'm going to move to the next tool, which is that little blue globe. So that's like bookmarks. And I'm going to click on it. Okay. Now, the thing that says Build Tech at the top, that's where I've created a holder, a container, and I've got websites in it. The one underneath Info, that was default with Butler. In Comics, that was default. Apple and Company was default also. So I'm going to just move on down here and pop out. Okay, so the one that I configured, Build Tech, I've got only two things in it. I've got Dig and Slashdot. Those are both geeky news sites, okay? And I've set it so that at the top of that group, I do have the ability to launch it as a group, which means that I can either say, go to just Slashdot, or just go to Dig, or launch them both. So, excuse me. It's a new computer I'm not used to, so it's me fumbling around with a different trackpad. So here, I selected Launch Group. It's going to bring up Slashdot, and it'll bring up Dig. I'm on a really slow network connection right now, so it's not going to be fast. Do a quick there. Okay, so these are all the bookmarks that are configured inside Butler. Okay, and I got them by being in a web browser and then putting the URL into the Butler configuration. But you'll notice that I also have set under this where I can get to my address book. Okay, because now remember, in your address book you can also have websites. So for example, if we've got Mr. Morgan back there, he works for Dayton Legal Blank, maybe I've got the Dayton Legal Blank website URL on his address book entry. Well, I'm able to get to it via Butler. And the one right below it, Browser Bookmarks, when I go there, notice my selections. Camino, Firefox, iCab, Internet Explorer, Mozilla, OmniWeb, Opera, Safari.
Now, when you load Butler, does it sniff out all of your
It
stuff?
gives me that set list.
It gives you the set list. Does it sniff out your browser bookmarks and add them?
Well, watch what happens as I select Camino. It says no bookmarks. And as I select Firefox, it's showing me all of the bookmarks that are currently configured inside my Firefox.
Okay, so you're saying it did sniff them out?
It sniffs them out.
Okay.
It is dynamic. As you change them, it sees them.
Okay, because
And as I move down to iCab, it says no bookmarks in iCab. Internet Explorer, it's got my Internet Explorer. Mozilla, nope. OmniWeb, nope. Opera, oh, I found stuff in Opera. And Safari, yeah, I found stuff in the Safari. Now, you're saying, okay, big deal. Well, it means that I can go to Firefox, I can say go to Mac Open Source. Oops, excuse me, that's me being Mr. Fumblefingers. And I can say go to that one. And it's going to launch and take me there.
I'm presuming you can also go in and name those things within Butler?
Yeah. Okay. And I can create containers that have different icons on them, so it's very visually different. And I can have a container that has a bookmark that's for Internet Explorer, and this bookmark is for Firefox, and this one is for that, and when you select them, they all come up as a group. Okay. I discovered I had bookmarks in browsers that I didn't know were there. Because usually I'm just looking at the stuff that's on the top line, that's on your, whatever they call it, the bookmark tool at the top. So okay, well there I am. Let's click back here. Okay, now you'll notice down here we have create a bookmark. This is the one thing I found. Peter Moore says, sorry, you can only create bookmarks this way from Safari. He really likes Safari. So he's only made this feature work for Safari. But I can do the other thing, which is, instead of being able to do it dynamically like that, I can click on Customize, and then in here, I can add bookmarks manually, or at the bottom, this little widget, I click on it, and there's import from. I pick which browser I want to import the bookmarks from. Okay?
Sweet.
Oh, watch this. I'm going to pick import from Internet Explorer. Okay? It just brought them all in. Every bookmark that was in Internet Explorer. And then I'm going to go down again. I'm going to say, okay, import from Netscape. Oh, couldn't find any. And import from Safari. And it just brought in some more. Okay, now notice it automatically created a container for Safari. So I've got Safari imports. The other ones that were from Explorer, it probably would have been better if I had created a container first and named it Explorer Bookmarks. And it just, boom, brings them in. Now, once they're in Butler, I can move them, sort them, arrange them. I know nobody does that. But you could. Though there are some compulsive types who organize their bookmarks. So let's say I've got this Build Tech folder, and let's say I want to add something that's up here in my Apple Pro information, or Apple. I can grab that and drag it right into that other container. Okay. It's so much easier to do this than to have to, you've got Explorer open and you're managing bookmarks, or you've got Safari open, you're managing bookmarks, and then you're trying to drag things over. No. This thing, it just, boom, suck it in, and then move them around inside the same container.
Okay, so my big problem is keeping bookmarks reasonably synchronized between 4 different browsers.
There is a thing here that says remove duplicates. Okay, where it looks at the URL and it says, okay, you brought in an Apple website from Safari, and you brought in the Apple website from Firefox, and you brought in the Apple website from Internet Explorer, and it'll resolve them. So you get just the one.
When you're arranging the bookmarks using Butler, is it doing it in Butler or back in the home?
It's doing it in Butler. It's leaving the stuff that's in the browser alone.
The home application is still the way it was.
That is correct.
Is there a way to export to back to the?
No. It's one way. Okay. Now, let's see, where am I at time? I got 2 minutes, so let me trunk on down real quick here. Let's say I want this Build Tech site. I want that thing. Instead of it being inside the blue globe, I want it by itself on the menu bar. I can do that by moving it into menu bar left. Okay, so now I'm going to close all this stuff out.
There it is.
Okay, and what we've got right there is all that Build Tech stuff. So in other words, if I decide I don't want to have this real complicated web menu, I just want these simple things, I can just have one thing and the stuff's there. Okay, moving on real quick. We've pretty much done what's in their bookmarks, hitting the other stuff. If I want to switch users from inside Butler, I can switch what user I am. If I have more than one hard drive attached, I can switch volumes. In terms of applications, notice it's showing me up above the programs that are currently running. If I go down a little bit farther, excuse me, I'm going to use my keys to do this. If I go down to all applications, it's, sorry about that. I've got, it's me and not having set the thing. So you can pick any application you got. Now, Butler is configured to look in the applications folder, the regular one, and to look for an applications folder in the user home. So if you've got special stuff that only is in your user home, it'll also see that. And for those of you who use Apple scripts, it allows you from this menu bar to go to any of those Apple scripts that are built in to your machine. For example, let's say a font book script like create collection from the copyright that's in the font. Okay, I just created a collection. In this collection, the copyright has the word Apple in it. So this collection here, okay, that collection there is only fonts from Apple, and the one below it is only fonts from Microsoft. Okay? There's all of these Apple scripts that come with the computer. You never use them because you forget they're there and you never tried them out. With Butler, boom, they're right from your menu bar. Okay, moving right ahead.
I use that one all the time.
System preferences from the menu bar. I have choice of all my system preferences right there from the menu bar. Documents. You can specify what folders it looks for and keeps updated. And last but not least, music. You can look at your entire library. With iTunes, you can launch music, you can change what's music playing, you can select ratings, control the sound, all that from within it. And last but not least, pasteboard. Excuse me, let me, there we go. Okay, so here's the pasteboard. You'll see I've got 6 clipboards going. One of them's got a graphic on it. The other things have some sort of date, some sort of text. Looks like I was cataloging old-time radio shows. But I can use any of those and I can add to it, and you can set in Butler how many clipboards you've got and what sort of memory is attached to them.
Can we take a quick squint at activity monitor and see what
Sure.
Let's see what this thing uses up?
Well, let's go into applications, all applications, activity monitor. Notice it doesn't care whether it's in a utilities folder or not. It's going to alphabetize them.
Yeah.
And process name.
Still.
Yeah, Butler. It's you know, using about 26 meg.
That's nothing.
You only see a peak in usage when you're actually, you know, it's doing its thing.
What operating systems does this run from? 2.0 on up, 10.2 up?
Good question. Let me see if I got a good answer here. Going back up here,
What operating system are you using there?
I'm using Tiger here. Let me just go to the help. And let's see. Introduction. I believe you got to be Panther and above. What is Butler?
Installing, uninstalling?
Yeah. First steps.
FAQ?
Yeah, let's try FAQ. I'm pretty sure you got to be at least a Panther.
10.3.
Yeah, pin 3. Well, let's go out to his website. That should have it right up there.
10.2.8.
10.2.8? Okay.
There you
So
go.
you can run it under the last version of Jaguar. Okay.
So 11 on the 64.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, what I want you to take away from this is that there are other launch productivity type applications out there. Quicksilver is another one that's there, very, very popular with the getting things done crowd. That's a whole subgroup of people that are using that process to maintain their workflow. But I thought it would be important that you see that the interface that Apple provides you is not necessarily the most efficient one that you can be using. It all depends on what type of work you're doing, how much searching you're doing, etc. With Butler, you can configure it exactly to what your workflow is. And I found that this dramatically cuts down the amount of time it takes me to do normal, repetitive, everyday tasks. And I'm just at the very beginning of applying it. I'm about to start delving into the whole thing of using Apple scripts and automator actions with this. There's a lot of stuff I do in my hobby of old-time radio where I'm cataloging shows, and it's a very repetitive process. And I'm thinking with the pasteboard and the keystrokes that you can do, I can significantly cut my time doing that sort of thing in my hobby, which means I can do more of it.
But yeah, you can do labels off of this thing and do all sorts of fun stuff. There used to be